Margaret Walsh had seen many things in her 40 years as a pediatric nurse, but nothing had prepared her for the phone call that autumn morning.
Mrs. Walsh, this is James Thornton.
The voice on the line was steady, controlled. I need someone with your experience. My daughter Emma needs help, special help. Margaret remembered James Thornton from the news, a self-made billionaire who'd built his fortune in medical technology. Widowed 3 years ago, a man who could buy anything except the one thing his daughter needed most. The Thornton estate sat behind iron gates in the wealthiest part of Connecticut. Margaret's modest sedan looked out of place among the manicured grounds. But she'd learned long ago that money couldn't cure everything. James met her at the door himself. No butler, no formality. Just a father with dark hair graying at the temples, expensive suit rumpled, eyes carrying the weight of sleepless nights. He was younger than she'd expected, perhaps in his early 40s, but grief and worry had carved lines around his eyes. Thank you for coming, he said simply. Emma was 5 years old, blonde hair with bangs framing a face that should have been bright with childhood joy. Instead, Margaret saw a child who'd learned to hide pain behind a practiced smile. She wore a red hoodie that she clutched protectively around herself.
Hello, Emma,
Margaret said softly, kneeling to the child's level. She'd learned this approach decades ago. Children trusted you more when you met them where they were. Emma's blue eyes studied her carefully.
Are you another doctor?
No, sweetheart. I'm a nurse, but mostly I'm just Margaret, and I'm here to be your friend. Over tea in the kitchen, a surprisingly ordinary room in an extraordinary house, James explained. Emma had been suffering for 6 months. Stomach pain, daily tears, visits to specialists across 3 states. Every test came back normal. Every doctor left them with bills and no answers. She won't let anyone examine her properly, James said quietly. She's terrified, and I don't know why. Margaret had seen this before, though not in homes like this one. Sometimes children carried secrets that hurt them in ways money couldn't reach. She spent the first week simply being present, playing with Emma in the garden, reading stories at bedtime, building trust, brick by brick, the way her own mother had taught her when she was young. You couldn't rush healing. Emma was bright, curious, kind to the estate's gardener and gentle, with the neighborhood cats that wandered through. But every afternoon around 3 o'clock, she'd grow quiet. Her small hand would drift to her belly. Her eyes would fill with tears she tried to hide. Does it hurt, sweetheart? Margaret asked one afternoon. Emma nodded, biting her lip. Can you show me where? The child hesitated, then slowly lifted her red hoodie. There, on her small belly, was a large bandage. Old, discolored, the adhesive curling at the edges. Margaret's heart recognized what her eyes were seeing before her mind caught up. This wasn't a fresh wound. This was something else entirely.
Emma, honey, can I ask you about your bandage?
The little girl's eyes filled with tears.
Mommy put it there,
she whispered. Before she went to heaven. She said it would keep me safe. She said I should never take it off. Margaret felt her throat tighten. Sarah Thornton had died 3 years ago from cancer, a mother's final gift to her daughter, born from love and desperation. But that bandage had been there for 3 years, and underneath it, your mommy loved you so much, Margaret said gently. She wanted to protect you. But sometimes, even when we love someone, the things we do to help can hurt instead. But if I take it off, Mommy's love will go away, Emma sobbed. James had joined them, his face pale as he finally understood. He'd been so consumed with grief, so desperate to honor his wife's memory, that he hadn't questioned why his daughter never wanted her stomach touched. Margaret had seen many things in her 40 years. She'd seen how grief could make people hold on to pain, because letting go felt like betrayal. She'd seen how love could sometimes hurt the ones we cherished most.
Emma,
Margaret said softly, your mommy's love isn't in that bandage. It's in here. She placed her hand gently over Emma's heart. And here, she touched the child's forehead. Love lives in memories, in the stories your daddy tells you, in the way you're kind to others just like she was. It doesn't need a bandage to stay. Emma looked at her father, searching his face. James knelt beside them, tears streaming down his face. Your mother's love is forever, baby girl. Nothing can take it away. Not time, not distance, not anything. It's woven into who you are. Will it hurt? Emma asked. It might hurt a little to remove the bandage, Margaret said honestly. She'd learned long ago that children deserve truth spoken gently, but then the hurting will stop, and you'll be able to run and play and swim without pain. Emma thought for a long moment. Then, with the courage only children possess, she nodded. Margaret worked slowly, carefully, soaking the old adhesive, talking Emma through each step. The skin beneath was red, irritated from 3 years of constant coverage. No wonder the child had been in pain. The bandage had been rubbing, creating inflammation, making every movement uncomfortable. But there was no infection, nothing that wouldn't heal with time and air and gentle care. As Margaret cleaned the area and applied a soothing ointment, Emma watched with wide eyes.
It feels better already,
She whispered, amazed. Sometimes, Margaret said, the things we hold on to feel safe are the very things keeping us from healing. That evening, Emma ran through the garden for the first time in months. Just ran, for the pure joy of movement without pain. James watched from the patio, wiping his eyes. How did you know? He asked Margaret. I didn't know, she admitted. I just listened. And I remembered that grief makes us all do things that don't make sense to anyone else. Your wife was dying. She wanted to leave something physical, something tangible. A mother's love made into armor.
I should have seen it,
James said.
You were grieving too.
Sometimes we're too close to see clearly. That's why we need each other. Margaret stayed for another month, making sure Emma healed properly. But more than that, she helped both father and daughter understand that letting go of pain wasn't letting go of love. On her last day, Emma gave her a drawing. A little girl, a daddy, and an angel watching over them. And in the corner, a nurse with kind eyes. You gave me back my daughter, James said simply.
No, Margaret replied. I just helped her find herself again.
As she drove away from the estate, Margaret thought about all the years she'd been nursing. The fancy equipment, the expensive treatments, the cutting-edge medicine, all of it mattered. But sometimes healing was simpler than that. Sometimes it was just about seeing what others missed. About understanding that love sometimes needs permission to let go. Emma sent her letters after that. Pictures of ballet recitals, school plays, birthday parties. A childhood reclaimed, one pain-free day at a time. And in each one, Margaret saw proof of a truth she'd learned long ago. The greatest gift we can give each other isn't protection from all pain, but the courage to heal from it. Some wounds are visible. Some hide beneath bandages we're afraid to remove. But with kindness, patience, and the wisdom to know when holding on becomes holding back, even the oldest hurts can finally heal.